Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anthony Becker, and in this series of videos, I'm bringing you along on my journey as a baby researcher / engineer working with bio-inspired tools like deep learning. In my last video, I went into my thought process behind how I would try to tackle some AI-based music production ideas, and I told you that today we would get into some code. Rule number 1 on this channel will be, don't reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to today show you some common and really easy to use AI tools. By the way, when I say AI, I'm almost always referring to machine learning. Turns out that the crucial ingredient for having machines act intelligently is the ability to learn on their own. That's why we use tools like artificial neural networks that work a little bit like tiny brains. The first tool that we'll need in our tool belt is the Python programming language. Almost all of the major machine learning tools are built to be used with Python, making it hands down the best programming language to just get started with machine learning. Python by itself could be used to create AI applications, but our code wouldn't be very efficient, and remember, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. Fortunately, Python has packages containing all of the most useful and popular machine learning algorithms, allowing us to use and even modify those in our own code. There are a few key packages for Python that will allow you to get started with machine learning, including scikit-learn, PyTorch, and TensorFlow. In this video, I'll just briefly talk about TensorFlow since that's what I've experimented with the most. TensorFlow is a tool for building pipelines for tensors to flow through. A tensor is like a box full of data. If by box you mean anything from 1 to infinite dimensions. Basically, when you're doing machine learning, you want to create something that takes some inputs and gives you some outputs in an intelligent way. An example is search engines, which take as input your search query and everything the search engine knows about you, performs some crazy big computation, and then gives you the output, which is your search results. All right, you've got Python and you've got TensorFlow. You should be ready to groove with some super intelligent machine learning algorithms, right? Not necessarily. The thing about cutting-edge machine learning, also called deep learning, is that it's very computationally expensive. It gets better all the time, but still, you're probably not going to get very far with just your laptop. You'll at least want a GPU in order to do all of those tensor calculations. Furthermore, using the Python command line interface is not necessarily the best way for a beginner to work. A better option would be an integrated development environment, like the Jupyter Notebook system. This gives us a custom text editor for editing Python code, as well as a way to run our code directly from the editor. It also allows us to use Google Colab. Google Colab is a free tool from the awesome folks at Google that allows you to edit and run your Jupyter Python notebooks right inside your browser on their hardware, with some limitations on how much compute time you can use at once. Additionally, so many state-of-the-art projects release versions of their software as Colab notebooks, which means you can instantly start to play around with their algorithms and accelerate your learning. This is really an incredible tool. I'll link to some great Colab notebooks and other resources in the description. Okay, so you've got the programming language, the deep learning package, and an IDE with free GPU compute power. Pretty stinkin' exciting. So let's go back and think about how we can use this tool set in our music project. Remember that I said the goal was to have some program that can take raw audio of beatboxing and synthesize music from it using a DSP pipeline, and I'll use the rest of the video to get you up to speed on what I've tried. The first thing that I did was figure out what DSP tool I was going to use to build my pipeline. At first, since I use a program called Reaper for music production and audio editing, I thought it would be a good idea to control it with code. It would be particularly useful so that I could use any Virtual Studio Technology plugin, also known as VSTs, and hook AI up directly to something I already use. I looked into both using the onboard scripting tool as well as controlling Reaper from Python in the command line, but neither of these options seemed super promising when I looked into them. There was also the option to control it with Python using GUI automation, but that would be a little bit kludgy, especially considering that I wanted to run it on the cloud. Also, I knew that there were some other things that I could try, so I put Reaper away for now. The last thing I want to do is wait a week before I can even test out the basic idea that I've decided on. So anything that takes more than a couple hours to learn how to control with code should be put down in favor of something more simple, at least at first. The next thing I decided to try was to find a way to open VSTs directly with Python. There were a couple of people that had implemented something like this, but the packages hadn't been updated in some time, so that was an indication that this might be hard to use. I checked out a couple of other DSP tools for Python and finally settled on a Pythonic package called Piyo. Piyo is a pure DSP package for Python. It was super easy to install and get started, and it was even pretty easy to get some impressive sounds out of it, so almost right away I decided to go with this tool. Alright, I know that we're diving into a lot of detail in these videos, so thank you for watching this far. In the next video, we'll connect Piyo to TensorFlow and see what kind of results we can get. Remember that if you decide to do a project like this, then you'll need to spend some time defining your problem and setting up your tools just like I did. So be patient and follow through. It will be worth it when you start to get some code running and see your imagination start to become reality. Please hit the like button to help more people find this video, and subscribe and turn on notifications to continue with me on this journey. See you next time.